I'm now recording this, so hopefully I'll be able to share this with everybody, and anybody that missed it isn't able to get into the meeting. Thank you everybody for coming. For the people that just joined, my name is Bates Rambo. I'm the owner, founder of CartoLab, which is a geospatial consulting and software development firm focused a lot on web map development, cloud first, infrastructure for geospatial applications and APIs. I'm based in Bluffton, South Carolina, and real quick, I think I have to let people in here, so sorry about that. But CartoLab is a geospatial consulting software development company. Started it in 2015. Prior to that, I've worked in various roles in South Carolina and the Southeast, most recently for the town of Hilton Head Island as GIS administrator for the engineering division and stormwater division of that. Then our headquarters is based in Bluffton, South Carolina, so still down in the low country, but we are a fully remote team even before COVID-19 and everything. Since 2015, kind of started it by myself and then worked up, and we're now a team of 5 that's fully remote with employees kind of spread all over West Coast, New York, Midwest, and then down in South Carolina. Three of the 5 of us do have ties to South Carolina. We all attended University of South Carolina at some point in our education. But what we're here to talk about today is a utility tool, a free utility tool that our company has developed called Snapshots, which is a tool intended to help with backing up and restoring content items from your ArcGIS Online and your enterprise portals. It's a free tool that anybody can sign up for and use, and it was the inspiration for it was kind of version control, things like Git or other version control systems that let you kind of step backwards in time and look at different versions of whatever it is you're talking about. I mean, a lot of people think of version control when it comes to software or data, but we kind of applied that same concept to the content, the layouts, the colors, the theming of your ArcGIS Online, web maps, applications, dashboards, things like that. It's available for free. As I said, it will the main features of it will always be available for free. It is not, we are not trying to be this is not a tool that we're intending to turn into a major product. That's our company. We're a consulting company. We do a lot of custom development for private enterprise. So this is just something that we've seen a need for over the years. It was actually inspired, I think, by a GeoNet thread, Esri's developer forums, of a need to be able to back up and then restore not only your data, but really the content, the map layouts and things like that. Snapshots includes 3 main features, functionality features. It allows you to simply create backups of your content. Those backups can be anything from a hosted feature service to web maps, and then any applications. There are various types of applications in ArcGIS Online and Portal, but we're talking about things like story maps, web app builder applications, dashboards, those kind of things are all fall under the umbrella of apps. So you can back up all of those items. Then you can clone those backups, which means you can create brand new items from the configuration file that is saved. That is the snapshot, if you will, which is a snapshot of a moment in time of what your application or your feature service looked like. You can generate new items from the configuration that gets saved, even if the original item gets deleted. And then the other feature is very similar to cloning, but it's a restoration in place. You can say, I have my application, I've made some changes to it. Now I want to go back and I don't like the changes that I made. So I'm going to reverse the commit history, if you will, jump back in time and somebody left there. So jump back in time and go back to a previous version of your application or web map. So this is just kind of a graphic view of what kind of features we have available. So we operate on web maps. So the basic web maps that you find in ArcGIS Online, and then the web apps, which are story maps, dashboards, web app builder apps, and probably some additional items that we haven't fully tested, but we have fully tested with those 3 types of items. And then hosted feature services, and you can almost do everything with hosted feature services except for restore in place. So how it works, the inner workings of snapshots might be familiar to some of you. If anybody has ever used the Esri tool called ArcGIS Online Assistant, sometimes if you've ever moved items around in your ArcGIS Online portal and you need to update the URLs, Esri has created a tool, a web tool called ArcGIS Online Assistant that shows you the JSON configuration of your web apps, your web maps, and things like that. They have, so that tool really allows us to see that stuff, copy it, make changes, and update that JSON configuration file. Snapshots works with basically the same data and some additional things that may not show up in the JSON configuration files that you see in ArcGIS Online Assistant, but it functionally works the same. There are, and I'll show you an example in the next coming slides, there are configuration information about your maps, your web apps, from everything of what feature services they're pointing to, which would be the URLs, the title that you've named them in your map, any filters that you've applied to those feature services as layers, but also the broader configuration for the application itself, what kind of layout is being used, if it's a template from ArcGIS Web App Builder or something like that, the theme colors, all of those are saved in what's actually 2 different JSON configuration files, but you can put them together in one big JSON object. And then the other part of snapshots that is different than ArcGIS Online Assistant, beyond the ability to restore and things, is that we also back up and can back up the data from your hosted feature services, but also associated files, other items that aren't layers and things that are in your story maps, attachments, so images, PDFs, audio files, if you've attached anything like that, all that stuff can be backed up as part of a snapshot so that you really truly can restore it in place and have it work the way it worked from when you made the snapshot. We run a cloud database of user information for who's signed up for snapshots and who's using it. And we save the JSON configuration files, so very small data amounts, just the configuration information that is saved in a cloud database. But no organization's data or any actual items are saved in anything that Snapshots has direct access to. That is all saved in your ArcGIS Online or portal account. So it does duplicate some storage in your accounts, but with feature services, we save them up as file geodatabases that are a little bit cheaper on a credit basis than having an extra just feature service there. And we find that applications and things like that don't really take up much of anything. Your images do get duplicated, and that's so that we can restore in the future if the original content item gets deleted or anything like that. So there's a lot of reasons that you might use it, but the main one that we came at it, the original inspiration really wasn't about the data and feature services. It was about the configurations of the applications and the maps themselves, saving the styles, the features, the theme, the layout, things like that. And it's to have a history of those design changes for maps and applications so that you can go backwards. It may be that you're just working and one day you want to try out a new design. You can do that. You can make a copy of your content in ArcGIS Online and then work from 2 different things. But Snapshots allows you to kind of work with the same item over its lifetime and then jump back to different, save snapshots at moments in time and jump back to them if you decide that you liked one design more than the other one. So you can A/B test design ideas. You can end up cloning a snapshot and then publishing 2 different maps that are basically pointing at all the same stuff and give people, 2 different views and do some testing to see which one is the better user experience, user interface, things like that. And then obviously, with the ability to back up like hosted feature services, at least for organizations, and there are a lot these days that are cloud first, feature service first, And you know, they have the ability to back up, you know, the organization's data and content. And administrator access in Snapshots does allow organization administrators to back up content for everybody, you know, any account that's in the organization, not just their own. Whereas normal users, just basic users, can back up their own content. We're pretty sure, you know, there are a lot of great backup solutions out there. There are a few out there, and then you can find various scripts on GitHub and things like that, Python scripts, Node.js scripts, what have you, to back up your organization. And there's a lot of ways to do that and, you know, create good backups for your organization. We really pride ourselves, I think, where Snapshots get set apart from some of the other tools out there is that we really focused on the restoration, you know, a one button click and put your content back the way it used to be. I do think that that's different than any of the other tools that we've seen out there. So is Snapshots secure? Yes. So you do, when you log into Snapshots, and at the end of this presentation, I'm going to give a live demo of it. But when you log into Snapshots, you do use your ArcGIS Online or Portal named user account. And all the login authentication is handled through Esri's OAuth 2.0 authentication protocol. Snapshots, our application does not have access to your account password or anything. We know your username and that's it. And then we get a generated token back that we can use to create snapshots in your account, since we do save content and those backups to your ArcGIS Online account. We don't save any data, any of your data, any files, anything other than those JSON configurations on Snapshot servers. All of that is saved in your ArcGIS Online or Portal account. We released Snapshots in, I think, the summer of 2019, somewhere around that. And we've built up a pretty good user base without shouting everything from the rooftops or anything. We're happy with the group that we have using it. We hope to expand, more, but there are some federal agencies, some state level agencies, cities all over the world, and some private companies and nonprofit organizations out there are also using it. And we're very thankful to some of the team members at Esri that we were able to talk to in the course of developing Snapshots and learn some about how some of the more advanced content like story maps and things, some of the details that are in there of what you might need to save and then in order to make a working restoration. So I'm going to run through some slides real quick here that just show some basics of what you can do in Snapshots and how it works, and then switch over to a live demo, cross fingers and everything, show you guys how it actually works. So at the basic level, you log in, you go to snapshots.cartolab.com, and it requires you to have an ArcGIS Online or Portal named user account, and then if you do, you choose which one you're logging in as. So you can log in as enterprise Portal users, or you can log in ArcGIS Online. And then if you've never been to Snapshots before, if you've never created anything in Snapshots, you're going to be prompted with a prompt to say, take a look at your apps, your maps, your feature services. Basically, there's a navigation bar at the top, and you can look at created snapshots that you've already created, and then your applications, which are, again, the dashboard, story maps, things like that. Your web maps, which are the basic maps that are used that usually feed into those applications, and then feature services. So you do look at each of those in a separate table, and you can navigate between those at the top. I need to back up there. So like we said, a snapshot saves a configuration information about these items at a specific point in time, and you just create snapshots directly from our user interface with a simple button. Create snapshot, and then once you've created a snapshot, you have the ability to view previous snapshots. In here, see the different configuration message, or information and messages you left yourself about them, or restore from snapshots. So with apps and maps, they basically work the same way. You see this table of your different applications, and you click a button to create a snapshot. When you click that button, create snapshot, you'll see kind of a simple form. Just give that snapshot a title, something that's meaningful to you, and then a short description of what it is. You may want to put a, in version control and things like Git and source control for code, there's this concept of commit messages where you're leaving yourself notes, yourself and other developers notes about what changes were made in this iteration and what, before it was pushed up to the central code and everything. This is, the same kind of idea, is leave yourself a little message so you have some idea of why that snapshot was made. When you hit submit, if it works, you'll get a success message that says you now have a snapshot. What's in a snapshot? So once you have snapshots, you can go to the snapshot detail page. So you can look at a list of your snapshots by clicking up at the snapshots tab. And then for each snapshot, you can open up a detail about it. They're different for each one. So this is for an application. So this is for a dashboard. So the description, the actual JSON content is going to differ based on what's in your application, what type of application you have, things like that. If you back up a web map, you get a preview of the actual interactive web map here, but we haven't figured out how to give you an interactive preview of your actual application yet. So that's only available for maps at the moment. So you get a description, and then you get information, the data configuration part of your snapshot, which again is a lot about where your widgets are in your applications and things like that. If it's a map, it's going to be about the feature layers and any filters and what services they're pointing to. This is for a dashboard, like I said, so this is mostly about what widgets are shown in the map. So through that has been a walkthrough of creating a snapshot for a map or an application. So then let's say in the course of your work, you've gone on and you've made some changes to your dashboard over the course of a week and anything, different layouts and everything like that. And then your boss comes to you and says, that's terrible, please, put it back to the way it was. If you didn't back it up or anything, you're probably just gonna have to remember what you did, say from scratch. But if you have a snapshot of that moment in time, all you gotta do is go to snapshots, the snapshots app, and restore it from what you saved before. When you can look at your apps or your maps, so you find your map or your application that you want to restore, and you click restore from snapshot. When you do that, you're brought to a history of all the snapshots that have been made for that content item. So if you make a snapshot every hour, you're gonna start to build a lot, and everything. And then you can view the detail information, which is what we just showed a couple slides ago, the data and description configurations like that, or you can go ahead and click restore snapshot. Once you click restore snapshot, you get a little bit of an asynchronous operation here. So you'll see a loading spinner. The application will wait for usually not very long for maps and applications like that. And you'll see a success message that says your item has been restored. When you go back into ArcGIS Online and look at your item again, it's now going to be the snapshot that it was that you restored. So if that's a snapshot from a week ago, all of a sudden your application is now changed back to a week ago in time. We also have added in, this was not originally part of snapshots, but there's enough interest in the community. People also want data backup solutions and things like that. So we do have a way to back up hosted feature services through snapshots with a one-button backup. The way that works is a little bit different than maps and applications. There isn't a JSON configuration that we save or anything. What we are doing is reading your feature service information and writing it to a file geodatabase. It takes a little bit longer than a map or an application, especially if it's a very big feature service or anything like that. So you'll see a loader spinner for a while. But otherwise, it operates basically the same way, backup and restoration. The only difference for feature services is that you can't restore in place. So when you do you can create a new service from a snapshot, but it creates a new feature service. We don't overwrite a feature service that's already existing in your account. So pretty much all the same restoration or cloning functionality, but not that restore in place functionality for feature services. So to talk about that cloning, so we talked a little bit about restoration with the maps and how that would, change things in place. You can build new items from a snapshot. And the use case for this is that you may have accidentally deleted the original item. I mean, I think that's something in my, 15-year-long GIS career, and was a user of ArcGIS Online and Portal pretty early when they, when they started coming out and everything. Those accidental deletions can really kill you. And of course, now they have great tools to prevent, you can mark things as authoritative and prevent it, but it still happens, trust me. So if you get into a habit of making snapshots and things like that, even if you do accidentally delete your critical story map, there is a way to restore a new item from a snapshot, because we save everything about the configuration that makes your application work. And that works with maps, applications, and hosted feature services. So it's a little different there. When you would go to, instead of restoring from a snapshot, you would go to the snapshots detail page, and you have the option of building an ArcGIS item from snapshot. And again, the key difference here is it does not restore in place. It creates a brand new ArcGIS Online item for you. Something we added, I think at the beginning of the summer or spring, is a new, we call it Pro Mode, but it's still free, it's available. We're just asking organization administrators to shoot us an email if they want access to the Pro Mode, but that basically allows organization admin roles, the administrator roles in ArcGIS Online or Portal. It gives them the ability to basically operate as other users in the organization and then make backup decisions and restoration decisions at a more centralized level, which is how most organizations probably work. And I know a lot of administrators out there don't necessarily want to put all their content creators in charge of all the backup stuff too. So we are starting to add some tools that allow a little bit more of that enterprise-wide management of these backups and restorations. Okay. With that, I'm going to, all right, before I go to the live demo of this, are there any questions? All right. Well, if there are no questions, I'm going to do a live demo of snapshots here and show you guys how it works. So let's see. We're going to start off in, this is our ArcGIS Online account that we use to just do a lot of one-off development and things like that. And I've made a very, very basic web map that has the IRS opportunity zones for 2019 or 2020, I believe. And it just is a general, it's got a little bit of information. Hopefully they all pop up here. Well, that's going to be interesting. Let's see, maybe I can try another one, or maybe my dashboard will work. So my layer's not loading there. Okay, we have lost our, things seem to be going a little slow here right now, so bear with me. I can still probably show some of the features of how Snapshots works, even if we don't have this data connection. So apologies, hopefully at some point in this, it'll come up. Or Josh, if you're there and you have some content and want to take over for a second, if you have any snapshots, speak up. But otherwise, I'll move forward and still kind of show how this works.
Okay.
Anyway, the idea here is that there are a choropleth map of opportunity zones, which are shown as census tracts. And the table, I just found a table in the Living Atlas of ArcGIS Online. The table has a few columns for a few different demographic information. It's got the total number of households, it's got the median family income, and it's got the poverty rate in there. And the way it was set to work when all the layers show that when you select the layer, it kind of changes and shows you the different statistics and stuff over here. You know, dashboard. Everybody's familiar with dashboards these days. Now, what I was hoping to be able to do, I need to go into and edit this. Oh, there we go. There's our dashboard. Looks like that layer that we connected to is a little slow, but it's there. So I've actually already made a snapshot of this earlier in the day, but I'll go ahead and do it all again. So in snapshots, we go in snapshots.cartolab.com. I'm going to sign in. I'm going to sign in with my ArcGIS Online account. And I'm going to see a list of the snapshots that I've already created. I created some for web map, some already for this dashboard. I'll show you guys. You know, so here is the detail for the web map snapshot, and it points to the same feature service. So if that feature service is operating slowly, and this one is not one that's in my ArcGIS Online account, I'm connecting to somebody else's ArcGIS Online account. So shame on me for doing that before a demo, but there, you know, that's why it's happening. You do get a preview of the web map, and you get this description of the web map itself. And then application. So I have this application, this South Carolina Opportunity Zones dashboard, and I have actually made a few different snapshots already. But if we go to restore from snapshot here, so I made one earlier where I'd added a separate widget, a third widget. But then as you can see in this version of it now, that widget is no longer there. I only have 2 widgets here. So I'm going to restore. My boss asked me to put that widget back. He wanted to see the household information in there also. So I'm going to restore the snapshot from that household count. Then I'm going to go back to my content, close these out just in case. And you can see that my dashboard just got updated because it used to be in the order of date modified. It was actually below this previous snapshot. And now you can see that there are 3 widgets. I added back in the households just by restoring a snapshot. Now, visually, again, I apologize for the slow loading here, but you know, it's mostly about the content, really. It's mostly about the design and layout of your applications. So if you want to move things around, resize the maps, change the colors of your, not only your data layers in your map, but change the colors of your gauges and your statistics and your dashboards, add different background images in your story maps. Those are all the things that Snapshots is making a backup configuration of. Again, if I decided now to go in, edit this dashboard, and just get rid of households, get rid of all of them. Let's say I just accidentally did something like that. And then save the dashboard. It's supposed to be a map there, but it's just gonna be a blank screen there right now. Go back to my home and everything. All right. Open it up.
Yeah,
so,
I wonder if ArcGIS Online is having some performance issues right now with their feature service.
If I could blame Esri for this, that would be great. Yeah.
I'm actually having the same problem on a different account where it's just not loading my feature service.
Thanks, Josh. So anyway, you can see our blank map here. The dashboard is now nothing but a map panel. that's loading very slowly. That was a mistake. We don't want to do that. You know, my boss actually wanted all of those widgets in there. So again, go back to snapshots and make sure we can restore that snapshot, restore that same item in place. Let's see if we just reload it there. Restore it, reload it in place, and all of a sudden, all of your widgets, all of your design is back. Let's see. And then you can do the same, you know, if you wanted to build a new item from a snapshot. So this would be an original snapshot that I took earlier that probably just has a couple widgets in it. I can build a brand new item. From that one, I can view that item in ArcGIS Online. When you create a snapshot, it keeps the same title as your original content, but then just adds a snapshot and an ID number kind of thing behind it. If you save data or images that are in Story Map or anything, those are all saved to a specific folder called snapshots backups and things like that. But otherwise, they're just saved into your user's root folder. Then we can see that this original snapshot that I took of it only has 2 widgets there, and hooray, it's kind of working again. But that is a good overview of just very simple things that Snapshots was built to do, is rapidly go back in time for your application layouts. And also, again, like your web maps. So if you style your layers, if you restyle your pop-ups, change configurations, if you put images into your story maps, if you put filters on your hosted features or your layers that are in your web maps, Snapshots helps retain a snapshot, you know, a moment in time where you did all that, and that we can quickly and easily restore that. That is about all I have. We do, you know, we have intentions. Like I said, we think this is a really cool tool that the geospatial community just deserves to have. Very free. It doesn't take a lot of, you know, maintenance on our part. We kind of built it, put it up, are more than willing to pay the server costs for, you know, as it is. The features that we have these days are always going to be free. Over time, we may improve it some more. You know, we're always looking to improve things, adding things like, hopefully one day we can get some static previews of what your snapshots look like. So like I said, you can see your web maps currently in the snapshot preview, but you know, I think the ability to see the different images of what your apps look like, especially as you start to build up. I mean, we have some users that have over 100 snapshots for one user, you know, and so if they could preview those visually, that would be great. We have other ideas too, some ideas to expand your options for what kind of, where you store your backups, where you store your snapshots. So we default to using your ArcGIS Online account. We don't have to think about other accounts or anything like that. You know, when we save data, we can compress it into file geodatabases, so it takes up less credits and things than your file feature services. But we know that one size fits all doesn't work for every organization. So we are looking at opportunities of, can we open up kind of a, if you want to bring your organization's Azure storage or Dropbox or Google Drive, things like that, we may be able to offer some stuff like that in the future as well. But we're really looking to, you know, A, spread the word of this tool that we think is very useful, and B, hopefully get some more feedback from users in the GIS community, specifically the South Carolina GIS community, and hopefully continue to build it into a great tool. With that, Josh, did I leave anything out? You know?
No, I think that's great. And surprisingly, I was just checking it. It's almost like their services have been resolved. I bet if you opened up your dashboard now, it would load fine.
Okay.
It seems like there was a...
Yeah, I'll do something real quick and just remind everybody of how to get that snapshots and everything too. So snapshots can be found by going to snapshots. Oh my goodness. Snapshots.cartolab.com. CartoLab.com is, you know, our company's main website. If you want to get in touch with us for any consulting opportunities and things like that, feel free to do it. From there, you know, if we open up these dashboards now, and do something. It does look like they're working a little bit better. Still a little slow. I mean, I run through the whole thing, but real quick, if you wanted to, I need to not even want to edit there. And none of these are editing views. Real quick, so yeah, let's just say I'm gonna delete this households thing. My boss came back and said I only want two widgets, So there we go. And then the next day he said, I didn't tell you to delete that. That's not what you should have done. We can go back to our snapshot, our original item that we're working with. And we can restore from a previous snapshot that did have all the 3 widgets. Restore to that. And then all 3 widgets are back, just like that. So it really does work. I mean, it's not magic. There's code going on behind there, and just a good understanding of how ArcGIS content is built. But we like to tell people it's magic. Again, one last time, snapshots.cartolab.com. It's a free tool for everybody to use. We hope you guys will check it out and use it. And thank you everybody for joining us. Let me put up our contact information real quick.
Yeah, another really good use case is with story maps, and that's where we worked a little bit with Esri on that process. But a lot of times, story maps are the content is kind of developed collaboratively. It's kind of a fluid, moving application or story, and a lot of times it's good to keep a history as you progress through a story map, and that way you can rewind to things really quick. So story maps is another item that's kind of really benefits from the workflow of snapshots.
Yeah, story maps were probably the original content item that the GeoNet thread was really talking about. What's a good way to back up these story maps, and we kind of took it from there. And Josh is the lead developer of Snapshots. It was really his brainchild, and then brought the idea over to CartoLab, and we've turned it into this. So we really appreciate his knowledge on this as well. But thank you everybody for joining us today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Shoot us an email sometime if you have any questions. Please check out Snapshots. Hopefully you can find a use for it in your organization.
Oh, and it looks like Alan was asking a question in
Okay.
the chat about being able to back up multiple content items at a time.
Yeah, so no, at the moment, no, but that is something that we have received. So we do surveys every now and then of the existing Snapshots users. And that is definitely something that has also hit our radar, in addition to the, I think I mentioned the kind of bring your own storage or various storage options. It's definitely a batch tool, something like that. So I believe we're gonna look into those kind of things as well. We know there's a lot of interest in that coming from the organization administrators. All right. Well, with that, I don't have anything else. I'll hang out for another couple minutes if anybody has additional questions. But thank you, everybody. Thank you, SCARC.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming, Josh. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh yeah, thanks, Valerie. I definitely took recordings of this, and I'll find my best way to get them to you, or put them up on YouTube and give you a link to that. We'll figure it out. So very excited to see that some people have already made their very first snapshots. So awesome. Thank you guys. It's awesome. With that, I think I'm going to close it down for the day. Everybody have a great day. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.